Hi, guys. Hey, it's good to be back with you. I hope you're having a great week. You only have about one more week before school starts, so you better enjoy the rest of your summer because it's gone by pretty quickly, hasn't it? I imagine it has. It's been a hot one. It's been fun. I know some of you guys have been out traveling, making great memories with your family, swimming in your backyard, hanging with your friends, and just enjoying life. And I'm really so glad. It's all about making some memories, and summertime is like the best time to do that. So, Mr. Zach and I want to share with you some examples of awesome guys in the Bible. And again, this week we're going to be talking about the most awesome guy in the Bible, which is Jesus. And we thought today we'd share with you a little bit about honesty. Because awesome guys are always honest, aren't they? And it seems like it's harder and harder these days to find honest people. And in the world that we live in, most people aren't very honest. And yet we want you guys to grow up to be godly men. And part of that godliness really is being men that are honest. And God's Word tells us how important it is to be honest. We're not to lie and cheat other people and things like that. It's all throughout the Bible. In fact, when I was a cadet at a military academy, when I went to college, we had what we call an honor code. And in our honor code, it's really simple. You will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will you tolerate those that do. So not only would you not do it yourself, but you won't tolerate others that do. So if you're lying, are you being honest? No. If you're cheating, like an exam or in sports or something like that, is that being honest? No. And if you're stealing, is that being honest? No. You're taking things that don't belong to you. You know, Jesus was the greatest example of really somebody who was honest. And he was so honest that sometimes he just spoke really what was on his mind because it was the right thing to do. And sometimes when we want to be honest, we're sort of scared to say what's truly on our mind, right? Because we don't want to offend somebody. We don't want to hurt somebody. And therefore, we're not really being honest with them. Like, it's really important to be honest with your friends. Because sometimes your friends really need your wise counsel. And when you give that to them, they're all the better for it. So we always want to be honest in everything we do. Because there's consequences when we're dishonest. Can you remember any examples in the Bible of somebody that was dishonest and they suffered consequences? There's one guy that always comes to mind for me. And I thought we'd take a minute and just read about him. Gehazi. He was Elisha's servant. Okay? He was Elisha's servant in the Old Testament. In 2 Kings chapter 5, remember Naaman, he had leprosy, and he came to Elisha to get cured. And Elisha said, go in the Jordan River and dunk 7 times, and your leprosy will leave you. And it did. And so when Elisha came back, when Naaman came back, he wanted to give Elisha some gifts as thank yous. And Elisha said no. So Naaman starts going down the road in his chariot with all the people that are with him. And Gehazi, Elisha's servant, decided, you know what? I think I'm going to get some of that great stuff that Naaman wanted to give my master Elisha. So let me read this. This is from 2 Kings chapter 5, starting at about verse 19. So Elisha says to Naaman, go in peace. And after Naaman had traveled some distance, Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said to himself, my master was too easy on Naaman, this Aramean, and not by accepting from him what he brought. As surely as the Lord lives, I will run after him and get something from him. So Gehazi hurried after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running toward him, he got down from the chariot to meet him. Is everything all right? He said. Everything is all right, Gehazi answered. My master sent me to say, 2 young men from the company of the prophets have just come to me from the hill country of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 sets of clothing. By all means, take 2 talents, said Naaman. And he urged Gehazi to accept them, and then tied up the 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 sets of clothing. He gave them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them ahead of Gehazi. And when Gehazi came to the hill, he took the things from the servants and put them away in the house. And he sent the men away, and they left. So the men went back to be with Naaman. And then he went in and stood before his master Elisha. Oh boy, this is where it gets really bad. Where have you been, Gehazi? Elisha asked. It's sort of like you guys go outside and mess around, or go outside and ride bikes or whatever, and your mom says, "Where have you been?" Well, this is really what's happening here. And he says, "Your servant didn't go anywhere," Gehazi answered. Now, that was a lie, wasn't it? But Elisha said to him, "Was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money or to accept clothes, olive groves, vineyards, flocks, herds, or men servants or maid servants? Naaman's leprosy will cling to you and your descendants forever." Then Gehazi went from Elisha's presence, and he was leprous, as white as snow. So what did Gehazi do? He was being dishonest, wasn't he? He lied. He said that Elisha had told him to go get some talents and some clothes because 2 young prophets were visiting him. He lied. He lied about everything. And then when he comes back, and Elisha says, "Where you been?" It's sort of like your mom asking you, "Where you been?" And he says, "Oh, I didn't go anywhere." And Elisha says, "You've been lying. And because you've been lying and you've been dishonest, the leprosy that Naaman had, you will have." See, there's consequences to us when we are dishonest and when we're not being honest with God. And so, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're being dishonest or you're tempted to be dishonest? Well, recently I was at A&A Auto Salvage dropping off some scrap metal, and when I went to the pay booth to get paid for my scrap metal, the guy up in the booth gave me the wrong amount of money, and he gave me way too much money. And he's actually a friend of mine. And so when I looked at the money, I said, "I think you gave me too much." And he looks back and he says, "Oh my, I most certainly did." And so he took back the money, refigured it, and gave me the correct amount. Now, do you think he's going to remember me because I was being honest to him? I think he will. People will remember when you had an opportunity to be dishonest, but you were honest. And you know what they do? They thank you for that, and they will remember you. And God remembers it also. Right? Proverbs 19:1 tells us, "It is better to be poor and an honest man than a rich person that nobody can trust." People will remember your honesty. Now, remember a story I've told you many times about when I was at a rodeo when I was a kid, and I was really hungry, and I was up in the stands, and I had no money to buy any food or drinks, and it was a really hot day out, and there was a young cowgirl in line, and when she pulled her money out, a $5 bill fell on the ground. And everybody was watching the rodeo, so they never saw it, but I did. So I walked down the stands, the grandstands, really fast, put my foot over the $5 bill, and reached my hand into my pocket and pulled something out like it fell on the ground. And I reached down to pick it up, and I was really just picking up the $5 bill. So in essence, I stole that $5 bill from that girl. Instead of going down and giving it back to her, I kept it. And you know, God forgives me for doing that. But it's always been a lesson to myself about the importance of being honest in everything we do. You know, 1 John 4:8 tells us that Jesus is love in action. Jesus is love, period. So everything he does is love. And when he's honest, he's doing that out of love as well. And really, we should be demonstrating the love of God that's in our hearts by being honest in everything that we do. So, how can we model honesty just like Jesus does? Always tell the truth, never lie, never deceive anybody. Don't ever try and deceive your mom and dad. Don't cheat. Okay? When school starts up and you have tests and everything, don't cheat. Just do your own work. All right? Don't ever steal anything. Don't ever go to the store and steal. If somebody asks you, did you take this or did you take that? Always be honest with them. Even if you happen to slip up sometimes in life and people say, hey, did you do this or did you do that? Be honest and say, yes, I did. So God always wants us to be honest in everything we do and be honest in how we think. That we always have nice thoughts in our heads and we're not critical of other people. So this week, Mr. Zach and I want you guys to model honesty just like Jesus does. All right? Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't do anything that really brings reproach on God. And be a great model of honesty in your family, in your schoolroom, at church, in your community. Be honest, guys. All right? Mr. Zach and I love you. We hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.